There's so many layers to this title fight between him and Sean O'Malley. And I think a lot, despite what you may think about me always, busting your chops, but I think a lot about this Ray Longo minute and how to thoughtfully ask you about this fight to try to maybe peel back a layer of the onion. Has Aljamain Sterling faced a striker on the level of Sugar Sean O'Malley?
It depends on what, as far as length and, accuracy, no. But power-wise, Petey Yan, I think, is probably a harder puncher. I think just the height and accuracy is what he brings to the table. And I'll probably say no, but he's never, Sandhagen's good too. He just never got the chance to do anything. It's really who O'Malley's faced that's close to Aljo, and that's a zero. He's faced nobody in that league at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Aljo's
faced good strikers. O'Malley's never faced a wrestler and a striker like Aljo with the submission capabilities.
Well, of course. I mean, Sean O'Malley, I think, did an interview with Brett Okamoto and basically suggested I can't let this guy anywhere near my legs at all costs. I need that to be the focus. I certainly understand that angle to it. I guess I'm just asking you, a lifetime viewer of striking, how do you rate Sean O'Malley? Because I feel pretty convicted that later in the week, Kenny's going to say an awful lot of nice things about Sean as he sets up that fight, just in terms of his distance management, his speed. You should see the kid shoot a basketball. He's a tremendous athlete. I would submit to you, this is by a fairly significant margin the best striker that you guys have had to prepare for.
Well, look, I personally love his striking. You know what I mean? But again, it's MMA, and it's not a boxing match. Aljo does great in the boxing class with big guys, 55-pounders. So he's not going to be in a place where he's never been before. Trust me. And his pressure with the with his strikes going forward is going to be a problem. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, who the hell knows? If you're asking me, do I like Sean's striking? Yeah, 100%. I like his fakes. I like his striking, and I like his long body for Aljo to hook onto and grab him and drag him to the floor. That I also like. You know what I mean? You got to remember, he's getting Cejudo down, who's a short, stocky guy. These longer guys, he has way better chance with that. All he needs is one scramble, one mistake. He's on your back, and it's going to be a long night.
I just want to bring Kenny in if I could. Kenny, a lot of Sean O'Malley's training camps have been grappling heavy camps, even if he hasn't been fighting that prototypical grappler, right? His grappling coach is Augusto Tanquinho Mendez, who Ray and Aljamain Sterling can lay claim to having a decision win over. But hasn't Sean O'Malley been working defensively to try to build himself to be ready for this type of challenge? And to that end, like how capable do you think he is of handling just all the suffocation and mauling that comes with an Aljamain Sterling fight?
He better be. He better be in preparation for someone like Sterling. I think that Sean is also kind of dangerous offensively as well. He's got some good submission attacks and things like that. But I think where he is maybe weakest is positionally, right? That's kind of the glue of grappling, the glue of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And in contrast, that's where Sterling actually thrives. So that's where I think he has the most ground to make up. And that is a very difficult thing to do when you have a guy in Aljamain Sterling who's been doing that for the majority of their life. And O'Malley is a tremendous athlete. No question about it. He can get a lot done in a short amount of time. But to make up that amount of time against a true specialist and someone like Sterling is going to be extremely difficult. And maybe he's done his homework enough where he can avoid, Aljo's rear naked choke and things like that. But positionally, he's still going to be at a deficit when it comes to combating that level of energy. And also, when you have superior position, you have the ability to punch as well. And that's another thing that, of course, O'Malley's going to have to worry about. So it's a tough matchup for O'Malley, no question about it. But O'Malley, I think, will certainly have certain advantages on the feet as well because of that length, because of that speed, because of his ability to be comfortable there. Yeah. But in regards to the grappling, it's one of the hardest things to learn because of sensitivity, because of time, and Sterling just has such an advantage over pretty much everyone in that division, man. And we saw it in regards to his wrestling and his takedowns against even the great Henry Cejudo.
Yeah,
right.
And John, even Weidman, these guys have wrestled their whole lives, man. Like you put Weidman in the wrestling room now, I guarantee you he shocks the hell out. He's still, you're not out wrestling him.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, he might lose a match to some of the top guys. I mean, even today, but his wrestling is still, it's just inbred in these guys. You know what I mean? What they do, they're not thinking about what they do. They're just doing it, and when you're training, you're not training 2 years to get to this level. I mean, you would have to be a special person, but we didn't get that. We definitely didn't get any evidence of that in the Jan fight. He got taken down a couple of times or a bunch of times. And I think even if it's not linear logic in Aljo's head, very secure with what he's going to be able to do. You know what I mean? Like maybe he won't. But that's the game. I think I love the way I saw Aljo handle speed and length, and I'm sure these guys love the way he handled, the wrestling and the positions and the transition. So now it's who can implement their game. It's a pretty simple formula for this one.
Yeah, I did happen to go back and watch O'Malley Jan last night, and you're right. I would think that Team Sterling would extract a lot of confidence from looking at some of those situations because Aljamain Sterling doesn't forfeit those positions easily. So we'll see what happens coming up this weekend, UFC 292. So, Ray, in terms of your nerves, walking out for Dana White's Contender Series versus walking out for Weidman or Sterling at TD Garden in Boston, is your heart rate different when you're walking out for this bantamweight fight on a Tuesday night versus at the Garden for a pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's going to be a little different. I think Boston. There's a lot on the plate for Boston, so yeah, I'll be. I think my heart rate will be way higher. To be honest,
all right. Well, first things first.
I would say it's like the same. Yeah, go ahead.
Cameron Smotherman is in the crosshairs for your guy, Chara Lampos Gregorio. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Gregorio, I call him Pompos, but Charla Lampos, yeah. Charla Lampos, is it?
Pompos Gregorio facing Cameron Smotherman in the bantamweight division, Dana White's Contender Series, Tuesday, August 15th. Talk to me about this matchup. Why should I be watching on a Tuesday night?
I tell you, it's a great matchup. They're very, fairly matched up. There's a big opportunity for Pompos. He's from I think he's from Cyprus, Greece. I probably got that wrong too. So this is a really big deal for him. He's been in the gym for a bunch of years. He's trained with everybody. Rick says he's a really nice kid, got a nice wife. It's all good.
Good, man. All right, before I let you go, the only other thing I had for you was Aljamain Sterling's. What are you laughing at now? What are you laughing at? You laughing at me?
I'm out of my. I'm definitely not laughing at you.
Okay.
Robert De Niro.
I bet you can't
I'm not
wait.
laughing at you.
I bet you can't wait to get some water and to have this interview be over and not have to deal with Palace Station Wi-Fi anymore. But the last thing I did have written down for you today, Sean O'Malley seems to be talking a lot about this Aljamain Sterling weight cut. And I think maybe the back-to-back nature of it because he just made weight for the Henry Cejudo fight 15 or so weeks ago and then went 25 hard minutes. So how does one Aljo weight cut differ from another? I believe there was a particularly tough one, maybe against Dillashaw a couple fights ago, but what can you tell us about maybe the back-to-back nature of this one helping Aljo get down to that 135-pound number come Friday morning?
I think Aljo is using this as motivation. Like, again, I've never seen him looking this good. My last thing I said to him before I left was, how's the weight? And he said, just like every other weight cut. So nothing's going to be different. He's going to make the weight. And, if he said it, I believe it. But, man, I'm telling you, I've never seen him look like this. And if that weight cut goes good and the rehigh goes good, you're in for a great fight. I guarantee you that.